What I'm going to talk about today is capo conversion, or what chords are actually sounding when you capo on various frets. So today we'll just concentrate on the first 5 frets to give you an idea of what chords you're playing when you are capoed on frets 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Hopefully this will give you an understanding of how a capo works. The longer you play, the more comfortable this information will become, and you won't think about it anymore. It will just become part of your guitar knowledge the more you study it. Instead of memorizing facts, just do it. The highest fret I've seen on a piece of music would have been the 10th fret. I've seen 9 a couple times. I've seen 7 more often. As you go lower to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, then there are many songs capoed on those frets. What it enables you to do is to keep the guitar playing open strings. Open strings ringing in chords make the guitar sound fuller. When you start to close up open strings, meaning playing bar chords, let's say we play an A chord. Sounds fine, right? If you play an A chord with the open string, that still sounds a little bit tight. There's 2 open strings in that chord. If I play an A chord here, which is like your F form moved up to the 5th position, you start to get an idea it sounds a little bit more open, but that's another story. Let's get into the conversion. So if we're playing in the key of C, our main chords, of course, would be C, F, and G, and probably throw in an A minor. Obviously, you're getting a C sound. If you play your F, which I do kind of like the folk style, I don't like the big clunky F bar chord sound. So I usually either do F major 7 or like the folk F chord, meaning you have your F triad and you add the C in the bass. And if you want the F in the bass, then you've got that thumb that you can use and wrap around the top of the neck. Then I play the G, the old school G. And then of course A minor. If you go to fret 1, then all of a sudden you're no longer in the key of C. Music works in half steps in Western music, meaning think of the piano. Every time you go up 1 key, whether it's black or white, you're going up 1 half step. The music becomes higher, or the note becomes higher. So we're no longer in the key of C. We're in the key of C sharp, or you could say D flat. You probably would rather read music in the key of D flat more than C sharp. That means that we have C sharp or D flat. A minor would become what? A sharp minor or B flat minor. F would become F sharp or G flat, and G would become G sharp or A flat. If you are playing a tune and you start to play in the regular key of C, and your singer says to you that's a little bit too low, then just capo on fret 1, play the same chords. Is it necessary for you to know what key you're in now? Well, yes and no. Yes, meaning that you are starting to learn about music, you're learning a little bit more about how chords work, and no, you just capo, you're still playing the same forms. It's not critical that you know what key you're in, but to be honest with you, you should know these things. There are a lot of songs where you are capoed on fret 1, I'll just tell you that now. Now one thing that does, let's go back to 1, is that it throws off your dot system on your neck. All of a sudden things look really different. You just have to adjust to that and make sure that if you have any movement upward, that you're not confused by the new sequence that your dots are in. I should have picked a guitar that had dots on the front. All of a sudden, if I play a C, my 3rd finger no longer has the dot on the 3rd fret because I am up by 1 fret. So let's go to the 2nd fret. If we play a C chord, it is now sounding a D chord. This is the reason why most likely you would want to move into 2nd fret capo if you're in the key of D, because B minor is lurking in the key of D. Being capoed on the 2nd fret now makes A minor B minor, because we've gone up 2 half steps. We've gone from A to B. C is now D. What would F be? Well, yeah, F is now G. G is now A. So now you have D, B minor, G, A. And if you need an F sharp minor, which sometimes pops up in the key of D, you play an E minor. Because what has happened? E minor, capoed on fret 1, is now E sharp minor, but most likely going to call it F minor. If you capo on fret 2, E minor is now what? F sharp minor. That's a big guitar key. The key of D is a big guitar key. The key of A, the key of G, the key of C, those kind of open string keys are used on the guitar a lot. When you get into piano music, everything changes where more flat keys are used. That's another reason to use the capo, because it will avoid the necessity of you having to play bar chords. Let's go to fret 3, which is a big one. I talked about piano. Piano players love to play in B flat. That key has 2 flats in it. Now, do you want to play bar chords for the key of B flat? You can, of course. The main chords would be B flat, E flat, F, and of course G minor. Got to use the capo on that one. But wouldn't you rather do G, C for E flat, but you would much rather play G, C, D, E minor. You're in the key of B flat. And you play with a singer, you will capo on 3 quite a bit. So get used to that. Let's go to fret 4. Our C chord is now E. We are now in the key of E major if we play a C. If we want to go to F, it becomes A. F becomes A. G becomes B. And then of course A minor becomes C sharp minor. Now the key of E, you almost don't really see a reason to capo in E unless you have 2 guitar players. Maybe one could play E with this C form, F to make the A chord, G to make the B chord. But really the key of E works well with open chords. Let's say E here, A and B. Many tricks you can do in the key of E to avoid using the capo and get a really big sound. You can just play your E open. You can play your A like an A sus2 chord. You can play your B like a power chord and play all the strings open. C sharp minor with the strings open. So you've got E, A, B, C sharp minor. But if you were insistent on using the capo, then you just play C, F, G, A minor. Now we go to fret 5. This is a big E too, because this is where D minor lives. The key of D minor would be A minor. That is now a D minor. It's sounding a D minor. Your E minor is sounding an A minor. If you go to F, that's a B flat, and that's a big chord in the key of D minor. And if you go to G, you've got a C. So A minor is D minor, E minor, A minor, F, course, if you want to play in A minor, then you just do E minor. The next chord is usually D minor. And the next chord, if I play a D minor form, becomes G minor. So if you're capoed on fret 5 and you play E minor, you now have an A minor chord. If you go to A minor, you have a D minor sounding. If you go to C, you have an F sounding. If you go to G, you have a C sounding. So the next video I will cover frets 6 up to, let's say, 9. And I'll give you an idea of how you deal with being capoed that high. Just remember, capo is a wonderful tool to use, but knowing how to use it and knowing what it does to the sound of the guitar in terms of keys and chords is very useful, practical information that you should know. So take your time, take 1 fret a day and learn the open chords, and you will have no trouble eventually memorizing all of this information. Okay, thank you guys. I will be back with the next video soon. So let's take fret 2, and I'm going to go through as many chords as I can. Fret 2, think about it. C equals D, D equals E, E equals F sharp, F equals G, G equals A equals B, A minor equals B minor, D minor equals E minor. Everything just goes up 1 letter when you think about it. We've capoed up 2. We go from C to D, E to F sharp. That's a music theory thing, why the sharp's in there. G goes to A goes to B. That's a useful way to keep track of what is being sounded. E minor on fret 2, like I said before, is F sharp minor. Very useful chord.